Welcome to the start of surviving 100 days in a zombie apocalypse, also known as Deceased Craft. Unlike when I survived 100 days in RL Craft, which I have a few hundred hours in, I've never played Deceased Craft before and decided to go in blind. I spawned in with a bunch of random loot in my inventory. I don't know how to read, so these books aren't going to be very helpful. I started exploring the nearby area and found an abandoned house nearby. Not much in here besides some coal. I decided it might be a good idea to just start playing normal Minecraft, so I got a pickaxe, axe, and then crafted a boat to travel fast along this river. I found another house nearby where I got a single piece of raw iron. Now is when the real fun starts. I found a city nearby, and this mod pack seems to have massive cities, which is where I'm going to spend most of my time because mega cities in Minecraft sounds freaking dope. I cleared out this hotel on the edge of town, looting and breaking the spawners as I went. Turns out when you spawn in, you get the Grace effect, which will stop hostile mobs from spawning for about the first day. At the time, I didn't know this and honestly thought the mod pack was broken. I went to the roof of the building to scout out the surrounding area and was pleased to see that this city is quite large. I went down to one of the hotel rooms and went to bed. I started off by looting this nearby sushi hut. There was a ton of food here, but when I was looting, I was hit with a potion effect, and that caused my screen to go pink. I went outside, and that is where I finally saw my first zombie, the Wheezer, not Carl Wheezer, which I will be calling the Sneezer, as it seems like he just has a ranged attack where he blows pink snot on the player, which makes them intoxicated. I was able to take him out pretty easily, and then broke into this tower nearby and took out a normal zombie to find a very interesting new item, ammo. If there's ammo, that means there's guns. Our new #1 goal is to find a gun because a gun in Minecraft sounds so incredibly fun. I went into the basement and there was a bank vault made of solid iron blocks. There was a Sneezer inside as well as an infected police officer who seemed to have a very high amount of health. I took them both out and then broke into the vault, got some armor and a police baton, which is a pretty nice weapon early on. Clearing out this building safe and slow took all of the day, so I went home and tried to sleep. I couldn't sleep as there were too many zombies nearby, so I climbed up the hotel and slept in a higher suite. Started the day off looting this tower near the hotel I've been calling home. Not much in here, but I hopped over to the roof next door, and that's where I found it. My first firearm of the series! Let's go! Too bad I have absolutely no ammo for it. As I was on the way home, I was fighting a few zombies, and I got bit. Sometimes, when you get bit by a zombie, you have a chance of getting infected. Infection will cause you to get thirsty and hungry fast, requiring tons of food and water to even survive. From what I can tell, the only way to clear infection is by using a golden apple. Sadly, the golden apple recipe is different than it is in vanilla Minecraft. You need some kind of Formula X, which I assume can only be found in labs, I don't really know. When infected, you will go through multiple stages until eventually dying. I went home hoping that sleep would get rid of the infection. Quick spoiler, it doesn't. Time to get rid of this infection. Early game, you've really only got one way to clear infection: deposit all of your loot in a chest and jump off the nearest roof. This feels so cheap and cheesy, and that's coming from me. You guys know what happened on day 70 of the RL Craft 100 days. I'm all down for some cheese. Now that we are good and healthy for the time being, let's get back to looting this city. I found this office-style building where I was able to get a few weapons, armor, and a grenade. 2 grenades, actually. One of which I threw in this room full of zombies, hoping to kill some, but it didn't seem to do much. I think I threw it too far. Yet again, when I got home, I had to go high up in the hotel to sleep, as there were a bunch of zombies throwing a silent disco party down in the lobby. I was doing my normal rounds of looting all of these city buildings when I got a message saying, "You've encountered a horde building. Zombies are showing up rapidly." Oh shit, it wasn't kidding. I was able to barely kill off all the little zombies, but this big mama behemoth was a little bit out of my power level, so I ran past her to go and loot the building. There was a lot of food in here, but not much else, nothing really too good. I went home and slept peacefully, knowing I won't have to worry about food for at least a few days. I know on day 4 I did die, but that was on purpose. Today we die for the first time against my wishes. I came across a creature I hadn't seen before and had no idea what it was or what it did, and it burnt me up all crispy. Kinda like the first death in RLCraft 100 Days. I went back and killed the monster. Apparently it's called the Ordure? Something like that? Still don't know what its powers are though. I got my loot back and headed towards the hotel. I stopped to kill a large horde of zombies that was starting to form close by. I went and crafted an anvil, and turns out all of the armor I have right now can simply be repaired with iron at an anvil. So I made my armor all shiny and new as the sun started to rise on day 7. Today is very boring and slow. It was raining. I don't know if that affects the zombie spawn rates or not, but there did seem to be a few more of them roaming around in the streets. I looted this building, and when I got to the top, I realized I didn't have a water bucket. I need to get one of those so I can gamble my life jumping off buildings every day. I went to the top of another tower and saw a few buildings nearby that looked like they might be fun to parkour down. Alright, I broke my legs, but it was worth it. It was pretty fun. Got back to the hotel, took down this homeless man sleeping in the lobby, and went to bed. On my way home from parkour yesterday, I did get bit and got infected. You know what that means. Oops, I somehow survived. 1 second. After our quick and easy healing process, I decided to leave the city I've been calling home for another city nearby. One of the first buildings I found was an abandoned fast food restaurant, which means free burgers! I found a bunch of houses nearby. When looting one of them, I found ammo, and in my mind that meant if ammo could spawn in these houses, then guns can too. Don't know if that's correct or not. Either way, today I didn't find any guns, and ended up crashing in one of the houses instead of running a few minutes back to the hotel. I hope zombies haven't taken up residence in the lobby again. Came across another horde building today. I've got a bit more loot and armor, so I was confident I could beat this without having to run away. And I was incorrect. I ran away and tried to use this car to escape, but it ain't got no gas in it. So I ran back home like a little baby, and of course I got my karma when an Ordure spawned in my hotel and killed me. My spawn point was still in that house that I slept in last night, back at the other city. I got back home and set my respawn point before going to kill the Ordure, and thank God I did. I killed it, but turns out he had a grenade in his pocket because he exploded and killed me. I decided to spend the rest of the day merging my room with the other one on that floor. I like this a lot more. I have a lot more space. I went to the new bathroom, something my old unit didn't even have, and slept in the bathtub, which is something I didn't know I could do. Day 10 of surviving 100 days in a zombie apocalypse, officially in double digits. Let's go! Today I'm going to loot a parking structure I found the other day, hoping one of these cars is drivable. Of course, none of them were, but turns out this is actually the bottom of an apartment building. I went around the apartments, looting, and got some pretty decent stuff. Lots of ammo for guns that I don't have, a metal baseball bat, which is my new #1 weapon, a lot of food and drinks, along with an antidote vessel that apparently makes debuffs not last as long, which I guess is pretty cool. I went to the roof to look at the surrounding area, and I just want to take a second to say how beautiful these shaders are and how great the buildings in this mod pack look. Makes this whole experience really fun and feel a bit more immersive. As immersive as using block guns to shoot block zombies can be. I broke into one of the apartments and stole the bed. Still looting the apartment building from yesterday, got a bunch more ammo for guns I don't have, and this crystal heart, which increased my max health from 25 to 35. If we die now, it is a bit embarrassing. On my way back home, I came across another horde building, and this time I wasn't walking away. I didn't get much from this, but I did get a nice little confidence boost. Even without guns, I can still take down a horde building. Just gotta pop in real quick to say only 6.3% of you guys are subscribed. If you're enjoying the video so far, maybe consider subscribing. Let's try and get that closer to, I don't know, 10%? I went home, my hotel got swatted, so I had to take down this officer of the United States military, thank you for your service, and took a nice little nap, not in the bathtub this time. So I was passing by this building when a horde notification popped up, so I ran through this broken part of a nearby wall, and finally, after 12 days, we have the ability to use a gun. Let's do it. And what's better than one gun? Two guns! And what's better than two guns? Three guns! And the third one's automatic! Okay, so I wasted 100% more ammo than I needed to, but I was having a good time, so who cares. I made my way back to the hotel, but on my way I saw some zombies down this ledge, and I wanted to try out the assault rifle I had, and now it only has 3 bullets left. Oopsie. I'm not gonna lie, today has absolutely nothing that hasn't happened and been showed 3 or 4 times already in this series. I just looted nearby buildings, killed some zombies, but didn't use a ton of ammo since I used too much yesterday. So I'm just going to throw a random clip in the background and talk about a few things. First off, getting a car is one of my top priorities. I learned that the ones I have found already might not be broken and I'm just dumb and didn't know how to start the car. Secondly, I really need to find a consistent source of ammo, as having full access to guns would be nice. And last but not least, apparently every 15 in-game days there is a horde. I don't know if game time is different than the normal days. I'm not really sure. I'm on day 18 in real life, and the horde still hasn't happened and says it's still a few days away. You can click on a calendar to see how far a horde is. I checked, and first off, it said it was day 12, but I can assure you it is day 13. And I had also only played 8 in-game days, and the horde was another 7 days away. I'm really not sure when to expect the horde or what the horde's gonna be, but I guess I'll find out quick. Alright, just wanted to say real quick, if you look right above my hotbar at the beginning of the day, you can see it says day 14, because it is day 14. I don't know why the calendar is busted. I went to explore the other city nearby, took out a few zombies with my little submachine gun. I definitely could have just killed them with a baseball bat, but this is a lot more fun. Found another horde building that spawned so many freaking zombies. This footage is sped up 5 times its original speed. This took a very long time. As night started to creep in, I ran towards this building that I have since found out is a police station and one of the better places to find ammo and weapons. I ended up looting a little bit, got some more ammo, and then I went to sleep down in the prison, after taking out all of the guys that they forgot to let out when the apocalypse started. This was not a very comfy night. Woke up from a not-so-nice night of slumber in a prison cell, and there was a welcoming party for me in the lobby waiting. Mowed them down and found a car nearby, but it was on an island kind of in the middle of the ocean. Wasn't really anywhere for me to go, so I just drove this car into the water, but now I know how to start up cars, so big W's. Nearby, there was an underground network of roads that had a glass wall around this water section, and I saw some giant killer whales. Those look pretty cool, but if they can get infected and leave the water, I am absolutely screwed, so I really hope they can't do that. I spent the rest of the day and that night running through the city avoiding zombies, and that went all the way until the sun started to rise on day 16. Today I grew many a brain cells. Standing on top of this police station, I had a brain blast. If I look on the map, I can find any other police stations based on the top of the buildings. I marked a few on the map and started my journey to loot them all. I found this brown car nearby, and oh my god, this thing is fast as boy! I got to one of the stations and started looting. I was doing some roof-to-roof parkour, throwing some 360 water buckets in there just for fun, and landed on a horde building, and all of a sudden, there were multiple zombies on the roof with me, so I jumped into a tree to escape. I jumped off the last tree, but I never landed. My game had crashed. At first, I wasn't too worried. I loaded the game back up, tried loading up the world, and got this error message saying invalid player data. At this point, I was a bit worried. I could have to restart the entire series, the series could be done, this could be the end. I closed the game and reloaded, and this time, thankfully, I got in the world just fine, thank God. That was scary, and as it wasn't enough, it was raining out. I had no way to control my temperature, and ended up freezing to death. Spawned back in this cold and dark prison cell, and laid my head down on this dirty-ass bed to skip the cold, rainy night. Started off the day by going and getting my loot from my dead body from yesterday, and then I went on to the next police station on my list. Got some ammo, which is always welcome, jumped over the barbed wire fence onto the building next door for absolutely no reason besides I wanted to do it and I felt cool. On my way home, I came across a villager. I tried to trade with him, but it wasn't working. I crouched and clicked on him, and somehow I picked up the villager. His name is Jay, and he will be staying in my left hand for the time being. Until I got home and accidentally sat him down. I tried to pick him up again, but I had a weapon in my hand and ended up giving it to him, turning him into a guard. So I guess we've got a new roommate. He better not hog the blankets, I swear. A lot of people have told me that the Horde is going to be very difficult, and I should build an underground bunker to just wait it out. So, I decided not to listen to the comments and instead build a wall around a broken down building and fight the Horde instead of hiding from it. Because worst case scenario, I die. Womp womp. I cleared an area around the house and started placing down these birch walls, because this is the only use birch wood has ever had in this game. That night I lit up the dark areas around the house and got ready to sleep. Don't worry, I've heard your screams. We back in the bathtub, baby. Today, going to work a little bit more on the wall of safety for the Horde that is in a few days. Instead of trying to talk over it, here's a peaceful montage of wall building. Don't worry, we still slept in the bathtub. Day 20 of surviving 100 days in a zombie apocalypse. The base for Horde Day is about finished, so today I want to go explore some of the nearby area and hopefully get some ammo. I found a city and started looting this house, but as I was leaving I got sneak attacked by this zombie and one bite from him infected me. Great, we all know what that means. I kept looting, just ignoring the infection for the time being. I found a police station, but of the 3 chests in there, only one of them had ammo, and it wasn't even that much. I jumped off the roof, as even if I missed my water bucket clutch, I needed to pass away to clear the infection anyway. I found a hotel much like the one that I call home, grabbed a bed, slept on the roof, before trying to fly off this building tomorrow. We got infected yesterday, so started off the day with clearing that up. Now that we are all healed and healthy, let's get back to looting for ammo. I found another police station nearby, and this one had a bit more ammo, which is very nice. I jumped off the roof to another one nearby so I could dolphin dive off this building into the water below. That was my form. I started making my way back home. Just look how fast I can run when I have a gun in my hand, almost as fast as the cars in this game. I went home and slept in my bed for the last time for the next few days, as I plan to spend them at the Horde base. More exploring to start the day off. I ran all the way down this road that was over the ocean and just never really found a city. This took up most of the day since it was about 5 minutes of running to get here and 5 minutes of running to get back. I got back home and stocked up on some loot. Afterwards, I made my way to the Horde base. Doing this during the night might not have been the smartest idea, but it worked out just fine. I might eat my words on this, but I feel like finding the Horde can't be that hard, right? I woke up and crafted a calendar. It says the Horde is still 1 day away, even though that's what it said yesterday. Don't really know what's going on. I'm kinda low on good food, so I marked a few gas stations nearby and set out to go and loot them. I only found a few, but I got some good food and headed back to the Horde base. I built floating pathways above all of the walls and wanted to test out how a grenade would do against a large group. So I shot my gun in the air a few times to lure in some zombies, and these grenades are going to make the Horde night easy, right? I spent the whole night sitting here waiting for the Horde to start, but it won't happen until tomorrow night. Silly me. That's right, Horde Day is officially upon us. Without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so I had a few close calls for sure, but overall we did survive, and that's good enough for me. After the day of fighting last night, I wanted to spend a nice day of building, so I made a bridge from the highway to behind the hotel and started clearing the road to the gas station so I can refill up this car. I have a gas can, but wasn't quite sure how to use it. I tried putting it in the gas pump, but that didn't work. Turns out you just have to crouch click and it will be fine. I refilled the car a bit and then carefully drove it through the town to the gas station and refilled it all the way. I left it behind the hotel for later adventures. I said hi to Jay, all he said back was yeet, bit of a weird guy, and then I went to bed. Today, going on a bit of a road trip. Now that we have a car with fuel, let's see how far we can get away. As I was driving along, I noticed a police station right off the highway. That is amazing. And that was just the start. I found another police station, and one more after that. But after that, I found another one, and if that wasn't enough, I found a 5th freaking police station in this city. I got so much ammo, this was amazing. I found a very small car, but there wasn't really anywhere for me to drive it, so I just drove it off this ledge. It looked kind of funny. I ran up into this treehouse to survive throughout the rest of the night. Today, we continue our journey of looting as many police stations as possible, that way we don't have to worry about ammo for a while. This is really annoying and repetitive, but today will be the last day that we do it for quite a while. I found a few more along the way, as well as an apartment building, which I also looted. Was hoping to get more ammo from this than I did, but I thought that I've probably got enough and I can start to head home. It took most of the night to get home, but I did grab a quick nap before the day anyway. Today, I don't know if I even left the hotel at all. Started off by making a new chest for all of my extra guns and ammo, got a pretty good supply building up. Next up, I tried to take a photo of Jay, but I accidentally hit him, and he didn't like that very much and tried to kill me. After a minute, he calmed down and we were chill again. I decided to finally make a functioning front door, just used pressure plates on the inside and buttons on the outside. I don't know why I had to put the buttons on the floor, but they weren't working when I put them on the walls. After that, I just stood here in the hotel AFK until the sun had set and I could go to sleep. A lot of people have been saying I should build a bunker so I don't have to fight the next horde and can just watch them instead. So I started digging out under the hotel and found a hidden basement that I had no idea it was down here. Lots of zombies in here, so I cleared it out and started to make it a little bunker. I wanted a redstone door that I could close off from in the bunker. I didn't have any sticky pistons or much redstone, but I did find 2 jungle temples earlier in the series, and those should have everything that I need. Sure enough, I got these 6 pistons and plenty of redstone. I spent the rest of the day traveling back home and building the door, and now it works. It isn't very complicated redstone, my small brain can handle this. Day 30 of surviving 100 days in a zombie apocalypse. Today I went exploring and found the biggest and tallest skyscraper that I've seen in this series so far. Not quite sure what this is, but it has got to have a ton of loot. Of course, while I was looting one of the lower floors, I got bit and infected. Love to see it. I kept on looting, we will deal with the infection tomorrow. These higher up floors have a good bit of ammo. I made my way to the roof and cleared out all these zombies, climbed up as high as I could, and slept to reset my spawn point before clearing the infection tomorrow. I was trying to put my items inside of these cabinets and then clear the infection, but I didn't do it in time, so now I'll have to fight my zombified remains. I didn't have any weapons at first, so this was a little tough. I ran into the bedroom of this unit and got some scissors, which made killing the zombie me very easy. I kept looting this giant apartment building, found this room that must have been a bunker because this place was stocked with tons of ammo, heals, food, it had everything. I took my good fortunes and left before I had a chance to get infected again. It took the entire night for me to drive home through this underground highway. Today, we take to the water and explore the 7 seas. Okay, not really. I just got bored of driving around everywhere, so I decided to see where the open ocean can take me. I found a small ship off the coastline and it had a motorboat. I don't know if this is faster than a normal boat, but I feel like it has to be. I found a city on the other side of the ocean, nothing too great, few police stations for ammo and gas stations for food, but besides that, nothing new. Right now, I'm really looking for a wasteland as that seems to be the next step as far as getting better loot goes. I ran around this city all night until the sun started to rise on day 33. I was exploring this city, and nearby I found a massive zombie, larger than anything I've seen so far. His name is the Demolisher, and I used way too much ammo and grenades to take his guy down, and he only dropped some high-resistance fiber. This took up much of the day. I cannot explain how much ammo I wasted on this. Afterwards, I got back in the motorboat to make my way home. I was able to get back to the hotel right before daytime and sleep to reset my spawn. I got a comment the other day saying I could craft a nature's compass and use that to track down a wasteland, which is something that I now know was not something I was ready for. But more on that later. From what I could tell, the journey would mostly be on the water, so I wanted to see if I could use the motorboat I found a few days ago, but I couldn't figure out how to refill it, and zombies were starting to swarm, so I just made a regular boat and traveled across the ocean that way. On the other side, I found a little city with a gas station and a car, and then continued my journey with a fully fueled vehicle. As the night faded into daytime, I came across the next city, and I couldn't really drive through these streets too easily, so I just left the car behind. Started the day off looting a police station. Of course, I got bit while I was in the lobby and became infected. If only we had golden apples. Anyways, I found a Desert Eagle, which uses an ammo type that I have a lot of, just not on me. But that wasn't even close to the best thing that I found today. I saw a building that I didn't recognize, something I hadn't seen before. And turns out this was a hospital. This is great news because in this medical cabinet I found a golden apple. No more committing sewer slide to get rid of infection! I kept looting the hospital and found an insane amount of golden apples. Ready for the final number? That's right, I can now get infected and cure myself 53 times. This was a big leap in progress. Too bad, it's all gonna get flushed down the drain tomorrow. Alright, so anyone that has seen my 100 Days in RLCraft video probably remembers what happened on day 70. Let's just say today felt a lot like that. I found the wasteland, but turns out that was not a good thing. I died, almost instantly, and over 2,000 blocks away from home. I grabbed some weapons, but stupidly, not any food or drinks, forgetting that that's important in this mod pack. About halfway through my journey, I tried to drink this river water as to not die of thirst, and that didn't matter because the water made me sick and killed me anyway. I respawned and jumped in bed to cry into my pillow, and I'll explain tomorrow, but let's just say something even worse than dying 2,000 blocks away might have happened. Day 39 of surviving 100 days in a zombie apocalypse. No, I didn't misspeak. Yes, today is supposed to be day 37, but let me tell you a little story. You may remember yesterday I died over 2,000 blocks away in a wasteland. So I stopped the day 36 recording and took a little break. Went to the bathroom, ate some food, and then I came back and made my way towards where my dead body was. Now here's where the problem comes in. I may or may not have forgotten to hit record before continuing to play. So I don't even have the start of day 39, I only have from when I got my loot back forwards. I stopped in this underground tunnel near where I died to think about the best way to get my stuff back, and that's when I looked over to make sure I was recording and learned that I hadn't been recording the entire time. If that wasn't enough, I didn't even get my loot back on the first attempt. It was too far in the wasteland and I died. I set up a bed nearby. At this point, I was being as safe as I could. But I had moved my body a little closer, so getting it the second time was easy. And the rest of the day I spent traveling home. Once I got home, I sat on the roof of the hotel and just watched as the sun set before going to sleep and forever forgetting the incident of day 37 and 38. Day 40 of surviving 100 days in a zombie apocalypse. It's time that I finally learn how the tech mod works. I'll need it to craft a gas mask to survive in the wasteland. It would appear most of the crafting recipes require new ores, brass, zinc, a few other things. I assume that I can find these ores mining, so I just started a little staircase mine. I found nothing sadly and came back home to sleep, but turns out there's a horde tomorrow, so I can't sleep. I ran over to the Horde outpost, completely forgetting about the bunker I had built in my basement. I then remembered that the Horde isn't actually until tomorrow night, so I went back home and kept mining, hoping to find some new ore, but got nothing. Continuing to gain small amounts of knowledge on these tech mods during the day before we fight the Horde tonight. I decided to actually read the books that I spawned in with and now understand at least a little bit more. I spent the entire day reading, so it's nighttime, or more accurately, Horde nighttime. I ended up spending most of the night on different levels from the hotel instead of in the bunker. Couldn't really fight them from down in the bunker, that's something I'll have to work on, so I just dropped grenades from the roof. Eventually I did go down and fight off some of the smaller groups on the ground, and that continued until the sun started to rise. Yet another successful Horde night. The first step in the tech mod seems to be crafting a Coke oven. Don't know why it can't be a Pepsi oven, I don't know the difference, but I guess we'll never know. To make it, I need some sandstone and then a lot of clay. Some of that clay I will have to turn into bricks, and the other will just stay clay. It took a lot of time swimming along the river getting clay, but I was able to make the full oven and start smelting some logs. These ovens give off a bit of oil that is needed to make treated wood, which I need for the basic crafting recipes and the basic crafting interfaces. I went to sleep not knowing I'm still about 8 or 9 steps away from getting the gas mask. Starting to get the materials that I need for the gas mask, all I still need is Duroplast sheets, which I have no clue how to get. Says they can be found in industrial buildings or bought from wandering traders, but that still doesn't help. I literally spent all of day 43 just looking through the engineer guide and looking through crafting recipes, so not much to talk about. But let's jump over to day 44. Day 44, I had my younger siblings over, and they wanted to try out shooting zombies in Minecraft, but for whatever reason, I had them play on the 100 Days World, but didn't record any of it, so I only have the last bit of day 44 when I was playing later on, looking at more crafting recipes. These have been pretty boring days, let's hope for a better day 45. Today, our main goal is getting Duroplast sheets. The wiki says they can be found in industrial buildings, but I'm not 100% sure what an industrial building is, although I am pretty certain I have come across one before. So I checked my map and found a building type that I wasn't particularly familiar with, and sure enough, in this chest, I had already looked in, was a Duroplast sheet. With these big mod packs, I'm usually pretty good at knowing what I should and shouldn't grab, but I was pretty upset at myself for not grabbing this earlier and saving myself the trouble. While leaving, I came across another villager. Picked this guy up, and I'll wait to name him until I figure out what I want to do with him and release him from my inventory. Now, all I need for a gas mask is lead. I wasn't quite sure where to find it, but assumed it could be found in these industrial buildings, so I marked a few others on my map. Afterwards, I went home, grabbed some loot, went to sleep before heading out in the morning to loot some more industrial buildings. Went on a journey through the underground train tunnels over to the area I marked some more industrial buildings. They were all a bit apart, so this is going to take most of the day. I did come across a zombified version of myself, not sure exactly when I died around this area, but I didn't have much on me, just some water and bandages, kinda weird. I went and looked at the wiki, and turns out lead can just be found underground, in caves. Doesn't say anything about it being found in industrial buildings, so tomorrow I'll head home and return to the mines. I found a hospital nearby and looted it, had a shootout with a ton of zombies in this hallway. I felt pretty badass during this, but on the playback I'm kinda just shooting at zombies, but this took up the rest of day 46. Lots of traveling today, took me half the day just to get back to where I left the car, and the other half of the day was spent getting home. When I got home, I decided to dig up a hole from the train tunnels to somewhere near the hotel. Eventually, I will make some kind of hut or building for this, but for now, it just comes up in the middle of the street. I spent the rest of the day running back and forth from the car, dropping off all of the random items I got from the industrial buildings. Put all of the stuff that I need for the gas mask into this cabinet. All I'm missing is 2 pieces of lead, and then we will be good to go. Tomorrow, we yearn for the mines. It only took 48 days, but it's finally time for the first peaceful mining montage of the series. Good times, good times. All I really needed was this lead, and now I can finally craft the gas mask. It doesn't have great durability or give very good armor, but we can upgrade it later on, and at least now we can survive for a little bit in the wasteland. I planned to wait until day 50 to go into the wasteland, but for some reason I ended up going today. Oopsie. Of course, I came across a horde building early on, and in the wasteland that's a bit dangerous. I mean, just look at this horde that I had to run away from. Not fun. I ended up hiding in this building until night, and then ran back to the bed I had set up right outside of the wasteland. I think I'm going to wait to go back into the wasteland until I can upgrade my gas mask a little bit. As I fell asleep, a few zombies came towards my bed. Uh-oh. Day 50 of surviving 100 days in a zombie apocalypse. Thank God we are finally at the halfway point. After my less than ideal day in the wasteland yesterday, I decided to head home since my gas mask was starting to break. Level 1 gas masks kinda suck. For a level 2, all I need is a piece of cloth. Which might sound simple, but is going to take up the next few days to get a single item that I am missing. That item being industrial hemp fiber, which required this garden thingy that I'm not using correctly. Turns out it needs power, and getting power is a whole other process. I'm not looking forward to these next few days, I won't lie. It just seems like it's going to be a lot of looking things up and finding silly little items. Today is a hard day for me to look back on. Nothing awful really happened. I attempt to get power for this garden thing, but it just doesn't work at all. First off, the windmill that I made doesn't show up. Like, there's an outline of the source block, but physically I see no windmill. I thought I'd just go ahead and make the wire coil and connect it. By the way, this isn't needed at all. I can just plant the hemp seeds normally and get industrial hemp fiber that way. But silly old me didn't think of doing that. After hooking up the wiring, I decided to reload the game and see if the windmill was fixed, but nothing. So I went ahead and slept. I'll try again in the morning. After the struggles of yesterday, I decided to look up and see if there was another way to get this industrial hemp fiber, and of course there was. Just do it normally. Next up, I need to make a mechanical crafter, and oh boy does this take me and my small brain a good few days to figure out. I spend all day trying to figure out how to make energy, but I don't need regular energy, I need rotational energy, which apparently is a different thing and something I won't figure out for the next few days. Made this water wheel, and just like the windmill, it doesn't appear to work. It doesn't even show up. I kept on trying to force it to work all the way into day 53. Time to make more mistakes. I saw that there was this thing called the thermoelectric generator that uses hot and cold blocks placed on opposite sides of it to make power. Again, normal power isn't going to do anything for me right now. I need rotational power. Stupid me. To make the thermoelectric generator, I needed nickel, so back to the mines I go. I got just about nothing from this, so I'll have to do some more mining tomorrow. Back to normal Minecraft things today, the thought never even crossed my mind that I can probably still use the enchantment tables to get enchantments on all of my armor and tools. I grabbed enough obsidian to make the enchantment table as well as try to go to the nether, although I'm pretty sure that's removed from this mod pack. I looted a nearby building to steal some bookcases and then made my full enchantment table, but I need lapis, which I don't have. Back to the mines. On the way down, I tried to make a portal, but like I thought, there is no nether. Sad days. I found some silver, which isn't exactly what I was looking for, but will probably be useful at some point, and thank God that I mined it because it was connected to a vein of nickel. Let's go! I made my way back up towards the surface to a cave I found earlier on where I got the lapis that I needed. I enchanted all of my armor and tools, mostly aiming to get protection on my armor, and got looting 3 on my tactical mace as well. Overall, a pretty good day. Back to working on machines that aren't going to help me whatsoever right now. Went to pick up some lava for the thermoelectric generator since I need to put 2 blocks, lava and water work, of opposite temperatures on the sides of the generator for it to produce power. I made all of the blocks and powering that I thought I needed, but yet again, I'm doing the wrong thing. I ended up making all of the mechanical crafters, so at least I have those. And now I have everything I need to make the gas mask except power for the machine. And tomorrow, hopefully, I will grow some brain cells and figure it out. It's finally time for me to use all of my IQ and make this upgraded gas mask. I found a water wheel that's from a different mod than the other water wheel I tried to use almost a week ago, and this one actually works, thank God. The setup is insanely ugly and just hangs over the side of the hotel, but I'll fix that later on. For now, it's time to finally make that gas mask. I put all of the items in the machine and stood by to watch. I assume if you have a faster rotational power connected, this process wouldn't take as long, but just look how slow and funny this looks. Anyways, I was finally able to get the upgraded gas mask, and can now say I have at least level 2 knowledge of this tech mod. I thought with my new upgraded gas mask, I might as well go and loot the wasteland, but oh boy was this a bad idea. When I was on the roof fighting this zombie spider hybrid, I saw something more terrifying, the Intoxicator, and oh boy was this guy huge. I shot at him a few times, cause why wouldn't I? I wasn't expecting him to have 3,000 health, which is actually how much health he has, so I ran away and hid inside of this large building nearby, but I almost died. Honestly, if not for my enchanted armor, I definitely would have died, and that would have been really bad. I was able to run away and hide to heal up, and then I just ran as fast as I could. Luckily, most of these zombies and other infected creatures aren't that fast, so I got away easily, and was almost able to make it home before day 58. After my close call with death the other day, I went to explore a nearby city for some more heals and ammo. Found a hospital, and now I've got almost 2 stacks of golden apples. Remember when I had to jump off buildings to clear infections? Good old days. As it turned into night, I realized that I had completely forgotten that there was a horde today. So I bunkered up in this tall building, barricaded the door, and then just stood here for the entire night. I was AFK on my phone watching YouTube shorts, if I'm being honest. After the horde last night, there were a lot of zombies built up around the building I locked myself in, so I went ahead and threw a few nades at them and got a little bit of ammo from this, so not too bad. On my way home, I was trying to build a ramp so this car could get onto the streets above. I'm honestly not sure why I was doing this. It didn't even end up working, and I just went home. By the way, the water wheel broke the buttons on the floor outside of the hotel, so I've been breaking the door anytime I had to come in. I should probably fix that. Day 60 of surviving 100 days in a zombie apocalypse. Today I have one goal and one goal only. Get my money up, not my funny up. As soon as I learned there were blocks of cash in this mod pack, I've wanted to build something with them. I've decided on just a nice little house, but I'm going to need a good bit of cash for it. There's a building type with a vault in the basement, so I marked a few nearby and made my way towards them. By the end of the day, I had almost 50 blocks of cash and another 3.5 stacks of regular cash that I can later turn into blocks. But I'm a bit a ways from home and need to make my way back, but I'll wait until tomorrow to do so. I'm going to skip my journey back home and instead start off by mining these cash blocks I had placed in an upper floor of the hotel earlier on in the series. I decided on a nice simple 5x5 money house. While I'm constructing it, now is as good of time as any to go over the plan for the rest of the 100 days. Now, first off, I want to be able to make my own ammo and get some better armor, which will require a larger mechanical crafter, at least I'm pretty sure. After meeting the Intoxicator in the Wasteland the other day, I very much would like to kill one by day 100, but we will have to see how that goes. I'm a bit short on cash to finish up the house, so for the time being, it will be missing a roof and a door. I'm sick and tired of the way that this water wheel is just hanging over the side of the hotel and made out of birch wood and is just overall ugly. So I'm moving all of the tech mods and items and machines out of the hotel. There's a small building right next door that will be perfect for this. I started off by clearing out the first floor and then taking out the second floor completely so I can have a high ceiling. I'm going to keep the top floor's office for the time being since I don't think I'll need that much vertical space. I set up the new water wheel behind this wall, and that looks a lot better. I hooked it up to the mechanical crafter that I will be making larger sometime in the next few days, but for now, this is plenty of progress. Now it's time to move all of the items from these double chests from the hotel over to the new tech building. This is going to take a while. When I got back home that night, I realized I've been a bit stupid. My backpack is just a normal stock backpack. But I can upgrade it to be a diamond backpack, which can hold a whopping 108 stacks of items. Next up on my to-do list is to make a metal press. This will be necessary for making our own ammo. I've got most of the things that I need, but one of the items I don't have is steel rods. Now, to get steel rods, I will need a rolling mill, which wasn't that hard to craft, and I was just able to throw it onto the end of the water wheel and get the steel rods that I needed in the morning of day 64. Started the day off with a bit of cleanup on the roads around the hotel and tech building, just want this area to look a little nicer, but then it was back to working on getting the metal press working. It takes a bit of redstone, which I have almost none of, so you know what that means, another mining montage! I was able to get plenty of redstone and a bit of lapis, which I was getting pretty low on, before heading home to sleep. After the day of mining yesterday, I was finally able to make the metal press. By now I've got a little bit of knowledge and was able to find a way to power it. Me on day 40 would be so lost right now. Now sadly, the only bullet casing mold that I have is for a bullet type that I don't currently have a gun that uses. To get more bullet casing molds, you have to either find them in the wasteland, or abuse villager trading systems! If I take this villager that I picked up off the street a few weeks ago and put him in the office of the tech building with a research desk, he becomes a gunsmith, and if I give this guy enough money, I can buy bullet casing molds. Looking back, I wish I knew this on day 60 before I made that house out of money, but I refuse to take that cash from that and spend it on this. Which means it's time to find some cash and steal some cash. I'm stealing money from buildings. Before robbing multiple buildings for all of their abandoned cash to force feed to Jimmy the gunsmith to get bullet casings, I must first finish the money house. In my heart, I know that this is more important. Now that that's over with, it's time to rob every bank within 2,000 blocks of my house. Day 67, still going strong. In between buildings, I took down a demolisher, but that's literally all that happened today that didn't already happen yesterday. But by the end of day 68, I was able to finally buy the bullet casing molds. I decided to throw these 3 days together because it was literally just running and looting all of these buildings with the vaults for 3 days straight. It's not really good content. Hi there, me again. A little warning, from here on out there is a little bit of a glitch in the recordings. There's a random black flicker every about minute, 30 seconds or so. I did my best to edit around it and tried a few times to fix it all together, but didn't get it figured out until almost day 90. After that grueling 3 days, I finally slept. I won't lie, today I was running around getting pictures for the thumbnail for this video. Stupidly, I did this in the 100 Days world and didn't just create a creative world for some reason, and I didn't even end up using any of this footage for the thumbnail. That's what we call a wasted day. And then, for day 70, I stood here on the roof. I can't have another day 70 tragedy. I needed to just stand here, be safe, and then go to bed. After the last 2 days basically being non-existent, I wanted to go and do something, so I went back to the wasteland to loot this giant building. In one of the first floors, in one of the labs, I found a room with some ancient debris. I was wondering how I was supposed to get this since there's no nether, but now I know. I kept looting, but didn't find anything too great. My gas mask's durability started to get a bit low, so I was making my way towards a hospital nearby to get some more breathing filters. As I came up the side of this wall, my game crashed. Gotta love good old modded Minecraft crashing at random moments. Back from the game crash yesterday, continued our journey towards the hospital to get some more breathing filters to fix the gas mask, and when I go home to fix it up, I can also upgrade the gas mask with the ancient debris. I made my way back home and started sorting the loot out of my backpack. I got 5 pieces of ancient debris. I fixed up my gas mask, using up all but 2 of my breathing filters. I then went to make the upgraded gas mask at the tech building, but as the items were starting to merge, my game crashed again. And tomorrow I would go over just how much this fucking sucks. With the crash yesterday, I lost multiple items. These include my gas mask, most of my breathing filters, all of the ancient debris that I had, and everything else that I got from the lab in the wasteland the other day, besides some shulker shells that, for whatever reason, I got to keep. This really sucks. I want to head back to the lab and see if the items are still there, but there's a horde in a few days, and I still need to make a new gas mask. I'm all out of lead, which is needed for the mask, so time for a little mining. No montage this time, I just found a little bit of lead and then made my way back to the surface. When I got topside, I realized it was already day 74. Oops. Got back home and crafted the gas mask. I then made my way over to the horde base to clear up some of the surrounding trees. I want to go back to the wasteland, but not quite yet, since there is a horde tomorrow night. Of course, it started snowing, so now I've just got to stand in front of this furnace all day. Since the horde night is tomorrow, I can't even sleep through the night. I just stood here and looked through different mechanical crafting recipes and found the armor that I would like to craft. Officially 3/4 of the way through. Unlike previous hordes, I decided not to fight this one too much. I mean, I shot a few waves of them and threw some grenades, but mostly I just kind of stood around the house all night. Once it was closer to morning, I did go out and fight a few of the zombies hand to hand. Now that the horde is over with, tomorrow I can make my way back towards the wasteland. I'm hoping that the ancient debris is back where I found it originally and isn't just gone forever. Making my way to the wasteland, driving fast, zombies passed, and I'm here now. When I got to the lab, I was very sad to learn that the ancient debris was in fact gone. I thought maybe on one of the lower floors could be another one of these rooms where I could get more, so I kept looking. But sadly, I was cornered in this electrical room by a glitter, a more powerful version of the running zombie, and since my new gas mask isn't as strong as the old one, I was bonked over the head and killed. Oh shit, this is really bad since I don't have many of the items required to make another gas mask to go back into the wasteland to get my loot. This couldn't have gone much worse. I put together a small class of old armor and tools to make a new gas mask to go get my loot back. Few small problems. All of the lead that I got the other day I used to make my first replacement gas mask, which I died with the other day, and then I used the rest for ammo. So started off with a bit of mining. I did miss my MLG water bucket and almost died right away. Very cool. I got the lead that I needed and headed back home, but that took the entire day. I was really unlucky finding lead. And I'm still missing a breathing filter and some more Duroplast sheets, but I can find both of those at a hospital, and there's a few right outside the wasteland, so I'll worry about that once I get there tomorrow. I spent the start of the day mining to get some zinc, since if I put zinc and copper into this furnace, it becomes brass, which I needed to get some more ammo. All of the ammo that I have was in my backpack that's on my dead body in the lab, but I wanted to take some with me before going into the wasteland, since going in there without a gun feels a bit silly. Afterwards, I started to make my way towards the wasteland. I took some coffee and energy drinks, since they both give me level 2 swiftness, so I'll get there much quicker, and I was able to get there by the night of day 78. And I went ahead and slept in the bed that I had set up outside the wasteland. Tomorrow, I'll go get the last things that I need for the gas mask, and then go back in to get my loot, if it's still there. Made my way to the hospital and got the breathing filters and Duroplast sheets that I needed to finish my gas mask. This gas mask isn't the best and won't protect me from much, so I better run fast. I was able to get to the lab and get my armor back very easily. There really wasn't any zombies around to stop me. Afterwards, I was forced to make a tough decision. Leave safely, or stay and try and get some more loot. I decided to dig down the side of the structure to get to the bottom and loot the armory. I came across this weird tunnel area, so I looked up a map of the structure and then made my way towards the armory safely. For whatever reason, there aren't any zombie spawners inside of here, so I was able to get the loot carefree. But there was so much loot that I wasn't even able to finish today. We'll have to pick back up here tomorrow. Day 80 of surviving 100 days in a zombie apocalypse. Time to finish looting the armory and then make my way back home. I got so many good guns and armor, but I'll go over all of that later. I made my way back towards the car to get back home. I was glad to see that the Intoxicator had a despawned. I still plan to kill this guy on day 100. Even driving this journey still takes about half a day every time. Lucky for you guys, I can just skip over that, but for me, this adventure is very time-consuming and annoying. When I got home, I went ahead and went into the field to test out these new guns. I'm a big fan of this shotgun. It goes bang bang boom boom. We are in the middle of winter though, so I couldn't stay out for too long, had to get back inside and then warm up before going to sleep. Back towards the wasteland, since I lost all of my ancient debris, I've been trying to find more, but turns out the wasteland doesn't go on as far as I thought it did. But there was a giant skyscraper. I started making my way through the tower. These lower floors didn't seem to have much, so I headed more towards the top. But as I got higher up and it started to become night, I started to get cold and almost froze to death. I jumped down the elevator shaft and ended up in the bottom of the parking garage. This reminded me of a comment that I got a while back talking about how I can find a full block of netherite in a hidden room. Sure enough, behind this wall, I found it, and by the grace of God, I finally have some ancient debris. Well, not quite yet, but I can make ancient debris out of the netherite bars. I made my way back towards the roof and found this room full of money, brass, and some diamond ore. A very good day overall. Left the skyscraper and took to the seas. I was making my way back home, but taking a different route than I normally take to explore some more area. And I found this black beach where there were some blazes spawning. I was wondering how I was going to get blaze rods with no nether, and now I know. And I was having a great time. I was having a blast shooting these guys out of the air. It was a nice little aim trainer, and also so satisfying watching their bodies explode and then fall to the ground. I have problems. Afterwards, I made my way back home, but with it still being over 2,000 blocks away, I was unable to make it home today. When I was looting that armory the other day, I was able to find most of the soldier armor set, but I'm still missing the chest piece, so today we will craft that. Yes, it is going to take the entire day. First on the list is to make a chainmail chest piece, which luckily was something that I could craft. The next step was to turn that into a steel chest piece using the mechanical crafter. Now that I have the steel chest piece, the next step is to get a netherite chest piece, which of course requires the mechanical crafter yet again. After that, I have to modify the crafter into this pattern, as making the soldier chest piece takes 14 items. I sped up this footage by 500%. At this speed, it looks kind of cool, but in real time, I was watching this for probably a minute, maybe a little bit more. And after a whole day of working on it, I finally have the full set of soldier armor. Plus, the helmet has night vision, so that's pretty cool. I was looking through my explorer's compass trying to find a new wasteland, but then I saw that I could search for a desert temple. I didn't have anything else really planned, so I will now spend the next multiple days going almost 5,000 blocks away to this desert temple for absolutely no reason. I'm hoping that along the way I'm able to find another wasteland, but we will have to see if that happens or not. I couldn't have picked a worse time to do this. With it being both winter and snowing, I constantly have to stop to stand next to fire to warm up. By the end of the day, I was only about halfway there. I'm going to skip the half a day of running and just show you from when I got to the desert temple forwards. Honestly, there wasn't much in here. I don't know what I was expecting, but it certainly wasn't this. Although I was able to find another wasteland very close to the desert, so I went there to get some more loot. I came across a mini boss known as the Heavy. Thankfully, this guy can't fit through doors, so I just blasted him with a shotgun, more bang bang boom boom. He was guarding the room with the ancient debris, so he had to be dealt with. Last time I didn't show you guys the process that I used to cheese myself into the armory. All I did was just dig down, and then I swam to make myself 1 block tall, and then dug across the entire structure. This took quite a while. When I got to the bottom, I was on the wrong side, so I just bridged across the elevator shafts and made my way into the armory. Nothing new here, but I got a whole bunch of ammo and gunpowder, and there's still a little bit of looting to do tomorrow. Day 86 is a pretty short day. After I finished looting the armory, I started to make my way back home. On the way, I came across another one of those giant apartment buildings, you know, the ones with the netherite block in the basement, so I went and grabbed that. Then I made my way towards the top floor to grab all of the money. Afterwards, I went to sleep in one of the units. I'm still a few days away from home at this point, though, so get ready for a lot of travel. Still making my way back home. For whatever reason, I thought I'd maybe go all the way to the other wasteland to grab the car that I left over there last week. After an entire day of traveling and someone commenting that I could actually just make an airplane, I decided to not do that. So let's go over to day 88. Still running home, I found this car and spent a lot of time working on getting it into the underground tunnel system. I think if I spent this time just running home instead, I'd already be home by now. But I was able to get home, bought some ammo from Jimmy the Gunsmith, and then slept in my bed for the first time in a few days. Hey there, VR again. There's no game audio for the next few days. I messed up when recording. There's still voiceover, and I put in a little background music, so it's not just me randomly talking. That would be a little awkward. So, turns out the armor that I have is actually Spec Ops armor and not Soldier, which means I have a whole other day of making a new chest piece ahead of me. Yippee! That night, after I finished up, I went ahead and enchanted everything. I had a few levels, so I was able to get some pretty good stuff, including Feather Falling 4 on my boots, which might help as tomorrow I would like to take to the skies. Day 90 of surviving 100 days in a zombie apocalypse. Started off by making my mechanical crafter into this pattern so that I can make the airplane. I had a lot of birch wood laying around, so I used that to make the plane. I didn't know that this was going to make the plane appear differently. I couldn't get the plane to move, but that's probably because I don't have an engine, duh. So I crafted up a book and started reading to learn that a furnace engine is probably what I will need, so tomorrow I'll work on making that and hopefully finally fly through the sky. I crafted the furnace engine, and after learning the controls, I started up and started flying. I won't lie, these controls are a little tough for my small brain to understand, so I hope I don't crash and then have to make a whole new plane or something. Okay, well, I crashed almost instantly, but the plane survived. I went back home and went for attempt number 2, and this time I dive-bombed into a tree. Awesome. But when I made my way back home after that, I was able to safely land the plane and then go take a nap. I flew to one of the giant apartment buildings that I found some time back in the days 40s or 50s, I'm not quite sure. These top floors have a good bit of loot, and I'm kinda just trying to find things to do to fill time before the Horde in the next few days, which will be the final Horde of the series. When I was fighting some zombies, the parkour mod thought I wanted to vault over this railing to my almost certain death below. But in reality, I missed the MLG water bucket, but with the feather falling boots, I barely took any damage. After that, I flew back home. Nothing to talk about really, but I am getting at least a little bit better at flying. I can now make it from point A to point B without crashing and burning. I tried to sleep, but since the Horde is tomorrow night, I can't, so I just went outside and shot a few zombies because why not? I've got plenty of ammo. Tonight is the last Horde of the series. With this being the final one, I will be fighting the Horde head on. Now with the Horde out of the way, our only remaining goal is to kill the Intoxicator. I think as long as I have a good amount of ammo, I should be fine, and I'm pretty sure I already have plenty of ammo, but just to be safe, went down to the mines for a very short mining montage to get some lead for some more ammo. After that, I flew back home and started smelting up the lead before heading to bed. With the lead that I got from mining yesterday, I went ahead and made a whole bunch of ammo. I now have an entire shulker box of .45 ACP ammo. I've got a few small machine guns and pistols that use this ammo type, so I should be good. After that, I went ahead and spent the rest of the day taking out this little sushi shop. I've always thought, compared to all the other tall buildings around my house, this always looked a little out of place, but by the time I was done and went to fill in the dirt, it was already day 96. I won't include this in day 96, but just know that I did finish filling in this dirt. Today, I just flew around in the plane, just exploring, looking for anything cool that I hadn't found so far. So I guess I'll just talk over this footage of me flying. Once this 100 days is over, it looks like the next series is going to be 100 days in Terraria's Calamity mod. I'm stoked for this. I love the Calamity mod, and I'm very excited to introduce a good amount of you guys to both Terraria and this insanely fun mod at the same time. Now, that series won't be starting for a bit. I've got a vacation coming up, so day 1 of the Terraria series won't drop until probably May 25th. Also, a little heads up, day 97 doesn't exist. I forgot to hit record after stopping today's recording. Oops. First off, let's quickly go over what you guys missed on day 97. I went mining to get some iron to make a beacon. If I am able to kill the Intoxicator, he does drop a nether star, so I can make a fully charged beacon. I didn't have enough iron, so I ended up using some gold, emerald, and a single netherite block. After that, I did my final preparations for fighting the Intoxicator tomorrow, and then made my way to the Wasteland to sleep. Just in case I do somehow die tomorrow, there is an extra gas mask in this chest as a precaution, so I can go and get my loot. The biggest fight of the series is finally here. I got my guns and ammo ready to go, and made my way towards the final boss. It's all or nothing. Okay, so the fight was extremely easy. He got stuck on the building and honestly never even had a chance to fight me. I didn't have the obsidian that I needed to make the beacon, so I went to a lava pool nearby and got some more. I went back home and made the fully powered beacon. I then stood on the roof with my new and improved skyline thanks to ye old beacon and let the night of day 99 slowly fade into the morning of day 100. Day 100 of surviving 100 days in a zombie apocalypse. Much like with day 100 of the RLCraft series, I'm going to go back to a few locations that were important. Of course, starting off with the spawn here in this random field. I didn't even do this on purpose, but I did the same dolphin dive into this water that I did on day 1. Next up, here's my first structure I came across, a broken down and burnt down house. Next up is this chest on the first floor of this police station where I found my first gun back on day 12. Can't forget the horde base that I started construction on back during day 18. Next up, I flew over to the Wasteland, where of course I died multiple times, and only yesterday took down the Intoxicator. When I was flying back home, I came across a zombified panda, something I hadn't seen before. It was kind of cool finding this on day 100. Of course, it was still a zombie, so I took care of it. Off screen though, I'll spare you guys the visual. I got back home, and before going to bed, there was one more thing I had to do. I found this flamethrower way back when I was looting an armory somewhere in the 70s and hadn't used it yet, so I went and burnt up a few zombies before returning home. I wanted to end day 100 the same way I ended day 1, which, funny enough, isn't that out of place since this bed that I slept in on day 1 happens to be the bed in the building that I now call home. So for the final time in Deceased Craft 100 days, I slept. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't get me wrong, I did enjoy this series, but if you guys want to see 200 days in Deceased Craft, this video will have to get 250 likes. I have a few other projects that I would really like to move on to, so if you guys want to see more Deceased Craft, you will have to blow this video up. Anyways, this has been VR Butt. Once again, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time.